How's it going, everybody? It's the Bamboozler. Today I'm going to be talking about who I think will be champion in 2022 for each weight division. So I'm going to start with the flyweight division. I think Brandon Moreno is going to come back and beat Davison Figueiredo. I would say the UFC wants him to be champion, so they're going to give him that rematch. They'll probably have a Figueiredo fight one person in between, because it does get a little stale if you have 4 back-to-back fights. Alright, so that one was pretty easy. There's not really a lot of compelling contenders coming up in 125, but maybe I just haven't been looking closely enough. So moving on to bantamweight division, so I'm going to say Petr Yan. Everybody believes he's the real champion. He beat up Aljamain pretty bad in the first fight, and Aljo won obviously from that disqualification because Petr Yan threw that illegal knee. But Petr Yan's just on another level. I really think he's going to be one of the greatest of all time. And after Petr Yan beats Aljamain, he'll probably fight TJ Dillashaw, and that actually will be an amazing fight. But I think that Petr Yan's going to win that one too. Alright, so moving on to featherweight, I think that Volkanovski is going to keep the belt. He's going to beat Max Holloway. I don't see anybody beating Volkanovski anytime soon. I think Volkanovski might move up to 155 next year. Alright, so moving on to lightweight, I think that Islam Makhachev is going to be champion by the end of the year. I can see Justin Gaethje beating Oliveira, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. But either way, I think Islam's going to be champion by the end of the year. It would have been nice to see Islam fight Beneil Dariush last night, but didn't work out. Alright, moving on to welterweight. Kamaru Usman is going to... it really depends on if Khamzat Chimaev beats Gilbert Burns, they'll probably give Khamzat a title shot against Usman. I think Khamzat can beat Usman. I think Khamzat is the only guy in the division who can beat Usman. Colby is very close to Usman, but they're not going to give him that rematch anytime soon, even though both of those fights were amazing. I do want to see a third Usman versus Colby, but it's probably not happening this year. Alright, middleweight, I'm going to go with Israel's going to keep his belt. There's no way Jared Cannonier is beating Israel. I mean, I'm basing this off fight math, but I mean, Robert Whittaker destroyed Jared Cannonier, and Israel's beat Robert twice now, so I just don't see it, and there's not really any good contenders on the up and coming right now. Middleweight, I would say Khamzat is also possibly able to beat Israel, but he wants to get the welterweight belt first, so that probably won't happen in 2022. But I think Khamzat would give Israel his best fight. Maybe I'm just buying into the hype too much, because Khamzat still has to beat Gilbert Burns, so if he beats Gilbert Burns, we know he's legit. Okay, so light heavyweight, most people think that Yuri Prochazka is going to be champion, but I actually think that Glover Teixeira is going to keep his belt. The way he beat Jan Blachowicz in his last fight is like pure domination. I did not see that coming at all, but I think that when Glover fights Yuri, it'll go down pretty much the exact same way. Yuri Prochazka is a badass, and I do think he has a bright future, but I don't think he's going to beat Glover. And there's not really a lot of good contenders right now in light heavyweight as well that I think... Paul Craig's a pretty badass dude, actually. But yeah, I don't know. Glover's going to stay champ. Alright, moving on to heavyweight. I don't even know if Francis is going to defend his belt this year. He's on a rocky roads with the UFC right now, so I could see there's definitely going to be an interim title somewhere in here. It's probably going to be Stipe versus John Jones. That's probably the only one that makes sense. Tai Tuivasa might be able to fight for the belt sometime this year, so that'll be interesting. I did doubt Tai Tuivasa when he fought Derek Lewis. I thought Lewis was going to knock him out, but yeah, Tai Tuivasa looked amazing, and I feel like Derek Lewis really cracks under the pressure when he fights in his hometown, because he seemed kind of timid, and it was the same thing when he fought Cyril Gane. I mean, it could just all be in his head, or maybe, I don't know, he's lacking the skills, I'm not sure, but I thought Lewis was going to run through Tai Tuivasa, but I was very impressed with Tai and his performance. So, yeah, I don't see Stipe beating Francis. I don't see John Jones beating Francis. I think Cyril Gane could beat Francis if he works on his wrestling more. So it's really hard to say with the heavyweight division, because we don't even know if Francis is going to fight again. So I mean, I'm going to say Francis keeps his belt, because he might not even defend it, but he might get stripped, he might not. They might end up having Stipe and Jones fight for the undisputed title. I guess we'll find out. Alright, so we're going to move on to the women's now. So I actually thought that Weili Zhang Weili should have won against Rose in their rematch. I thought that was a bad decision, but maybe not everyone agrees with me. So they're probably not going to give Zhang Weili a rematch anytime soon, like a trilogy fight against Rose. So I would say that Rose is probably going to keep her belt, because I don't see. Actually, I don't know. Carla Esparza has a win over Rose already. I know that was a really long time ago, but Carla might be able to out-wrestle Rose and get a submission possibly, or a TKO stoppage from the ground and pound. So yeah, Carla Esparza has a chance of being champion. Maybe I'll go with Carla Esparza. Yeah, alright. Carla Esparza, gonna be the strawweight champion. Women's flyweight, Valentina is keeping her belt. No one's even close to her in that division. Kind of makes it stale when you have such a dominant champion, but she will just smash everyone they put in front of her. Okay. Women's bantamweight, I think Juliana Pena is going to beat Amanda Nunes in the rematch. Seems like Amanda Nunes' life is kind of falling apart right now. She's leaving American Top Team, starting her own gym. She's doing all this stuff outside of fighting, probably pulling away from her focus, and she's got that baby now. She just didn't seem like the same fighter in her last fight. I don't know if she'll be able to get that back. So, I mean, I'm rooting for Amanda, but I think Juliana is going to beat her, and Amanda will probably retire after that. So, featherweight, yeah, I think Amanda's going to fight Juliana at 135, and if Amanda loses, she'll probably retire, but maybe not. I could be wrong. So, quick recap. I got Brandon Moreno taking the title from Figueiredo. Petr Yan is going to unify his belt against Aljamain Sterling. Volkanovski's going to keep his belt. Islam is going to beat the winner of Charles versus Gaethje. Khamzat Chimaev, if he beats Gilbert Burns, will probably beat Usman for the title. No one's taken the belt from Israel Adesanya, so he's going to remain champ. Glover Teixeira is going to keep his belt. Francis will probably keep his belt if he even fights. Carla Esparza is going to take the belt from Rose. Valentina is going to keep her belt. Juliana Pena is going to beat Amanda in the rematch. Alright, so if you guys have a different opinion than me, then let me know in the comments section below. I know I'm a little late to the party on this video. I planned on making this video in January, but life keeps on getting in the way, so I'm doing it now. Thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.